Hi, this is Judy Medore, and this is the Oily Crafter YouTube channel. On today's video, we're going to be doing some unboxing and assembly of a Longer Ray5 10 watt. They actually sent this to me to review and give my honest opinion. I am not being paid or promoted in any way. I will have an affiliate link later that will be in the description if they approve me on share a sale. So Greg, my husband, is in the doing the camera for me today. He's going to see if I can actually do the assembly for once. And so let's get into it. Let's start the unboxing. So we cut the box open.
And this did come in a larger box.
Yes, it did. It came in it was probably too tall for it actually, but it came in with no extra padding, so hopefully everything's okay. The boxes look good. They did send me a honeycomb to go along with it as well. We will also unbox that, but we won't be needing it till later. So there again, this is a Longer Ray5 10 watt is what they sent me. And did you get that?
Yep.
All right, so the packing seems to be pretty standard here with the different companies and whatnot, and this is the first one that has actually been sent to me by anybody, so the opinions will be my own on what I think of the actual laser itself. We have watched a few of the longer tutorials, which I won't really get into because I didn't really like them that well, but yeah.
So they basically they didn't have any. They had music playing in the background, but no audio instructions, no written instructions in the description at all. So you basically have to start and stop the video a bunch of times in order to follow along with their instructions.
So here's their instructions that they apparently sent with it. Kind of like a quick start guide. So we'll see how well it actually helps me put it together, or whether we're going to have to go back to videos to figure it out. So in the box, we'll start out closest here to me, right here. This looks like...
That's the display unit.
The display unit, okay. And cord, all right.
Yep.
So there's that. I'll set that to the side.
And what's interesting is on the side of the box, it says the Ray5S 5 watt 10 watt comes without a touchscreen.
Which, well, this one here's the one that's checked.
We have the Ray5 10 watt, but here's the touchscreen.
All right, and this is apparently
probably the USB-A to USB-B cable would be my guess.
Well, let's just go ahead and pull it out. We're going to need to anyway.
Yep.
Yep.
That's exactly what that is.
All right, so there's a cable.
It even, and notice it even has a ferrite choke on there, right? This thing right here, which will reduce interference, electrical interference.
All righty. As you can tell, Greg's the technical one. I'm just along for the ride. All righty, let's see here. What do we got in here? This looks like we have tools, a bunch of, what do they call it?
Allen wrenches.
And that looks
you
like
got to turn it so I can see it. But
well, I was trying to figure out what it is. So, oh my. Little pieces of wood, I guess, for
yeah, you get samples for working with.
Yeah, once we get it all put together.
I think they showed a little bit of that in the videos that we watched.
So apparently we're going to have quite a few different size screws here.
Yep.
I've got 4 of those, and a little wrench, and a bunch of zip ties, probably for cable management.
I'm sure.
All right. So then I'm not going to well, I was going to say I'm not going to open it all.
You can pull it out, but put it back in the bag so things don't get mixed up.
Yeah. Okay. What is that?
That is a USB to a micro SD. That's a micro SD card in the end. And if you pull that end off right there, that's USB,
okay.
and that's USB-A.
Yeah.
Yeah, very familiar with those.
Yeah. None of my videos that I've seen so far said anything about having that. Okay, this looks like it's probably Step 1 and 3. Yeah, there's different screws that they've got in there. I don't want to unbag it till we're ready to use it.
Okay, got it.
Alrighty. And then this step 4 screws.
Well, I will give them credit for this. They've got all the bags clearly labeled and for what step it is, presumably in the manual. So we'll see how this works out. Yeah.
So they're good and labeled. As far as that's concerned, you don't have to guess what ones we got. Step 6.
Got it.
Alrighty, and let's see here. Some kind of cable. It doesn't say what it is. Oh, maybe it's a belt. Yeah, it's belts.
Yeah, drive belts, I'm sure.
Alrighty. And then, this looks like the little
laser
gauge.
Focus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the laser focus, which will show how that goes later. All right, so that's that bag. Let's see what's next. Alrighty. Same compartment. Oh, they actually sent some laser glasses, it looks like.
Nice. Well, you definitely want to be safe with that because if you don't want...
This is an open frame.
Yeah, an open frame, which means if you're running the laser, you need to protect your eyes.
As well as your pets if there are little children walking around like that. With our other open frame, we actually put up some black foam board around it. So if our dogs happen to walk by while I'm using it, I don't have to worry about it.
Yep.
Okay, so that's just a desiccant pack. Alrighty, so then, okay, so this looks like a long frame piece here.
Yeah. That's basically the gantry, if you will.
The gantry.
Yeah, and the laser head's going to mount to this right here.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the step motors there. See, in the one video we watched, it actually showed us installing that. I'll have to say I'm glad to see that it is already installed.
Yeah. And what's interesting, they actually have the end of a drive belt hanging out here on the end, which I find interesting, but okay.
Okay, here's some plates.
Yeah, I'm sure those have to do with when you finish building the frame, they're going to provide support. That would be the laser head there.
The laser head, and I'm not going to take it out till we're ready to install it. This is a static bag, right?
Yes,
okay,
anti-static bag.
Anti-static bag, so we want to make sure we leave that in there till we're ready for it. Alright. And let's see, it looks like this is the power supply. Here. Yep.
Yeah. And notice it does have a 3-prong ground plug on it, so we need a grounded outlet.
All right, so then we're all the way over to this
more of the
side.
frame.
Okay. Okay, so
You got several mounting rails there together, and that's the end of the what's everything in that box.
All right, so let me put this back down in here. Get it out of the way. All right.
Okay.
So we'll saran wrap or shrink wrap this right here. However, we're going to need the pocket knife to get it loose. Alrighty. So lots of not as many pieces as I was expecting.
Well, it does seem like they have better organization here on the parts bag there, and it's good to see that they've got a quick start guide inside of there. So
either this knife is really dull, or
I'm sure the knife is really dull.
Yeah. Okay, so we had to switch to scissors because my knife was just too dull to get all that saran wrap off. We had to go through the instructions a little bit because we were kind of confused and trying to figure out how things are oriented. It doesn't tell you which way the numbers are supposed to go or anything like that. So we decided we'd put the zeros at the front here by the one that says longer. This is the front. And so that's how we're orienting this. These little connectors here have this notch in here, and each corner has their own on this notch here. So we just slide it in like this on each corner where you can see it going in. And then we're going to be doing this
but that's later.
Yeah, and this is the front. You're supposed to do the back first. I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what it looks like. It's kind of easier at this angle with the camera. So I'm going to pull this back out. And then after you get them in there, you use these screws to,
this screw right here.
To put those in.
This will actually screw into the end of this other piece right there.
Yeah, and then we're going to end up using these two Allen wrenches for this.
This is the Allen wrench here for the M5 screws. And then this is the Allen wrench for these screws that are in here, and right there.
Yeah, so this is going to be kind of interesting because Greg's on that side where I need to be. And because I can't really reach that without getting up. So
we've taken this screw here. I'm going to pull it back out. We've taken that screw right there, and that goes in right in here in the end, and it goes into the end of this other piece, and then it screws into the end and the whole inside of that bar there. All right.
And then we're going to do that on each of the back corners, and then we'll go on to the next step because we have to put the gantry in before we can hook in the front.
Okay. What I wanted to point out here is that this piece here, there's a lot of play in here, both side to side and this way as well. So make sure that you've got that about as square as you can get it. In theory, when I tighten this together, it's going to automatically square it up. So hopefully that's the case.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, we're pretty sure that's why they gave us these pieces.
Yeah.
To help square it up on each corner.
You can stop. All right, so now we're on step 2, and it talks about using this x-axis rail here. So that's right here in this picture, right? So now we're going to come over here to the frame, and basically what it tells you to do is these top 2 wheels here go in this top groove here, and the bottom wheel goes down here in this bottom groove down here. And you've got to do both sides at the same time on both rails here, because otherwise you can't, because of it being squared, they just have to both go on at the same time.
Okay, so the next step, after we got the gantry in, we're trying to get the front groove, bar on. We have those little deals here slid into those slots here on the front like we did on the back. I am trying to do this with the trying to make sure things are as flush as can be. They feel flush there. Okay, there's that side. Now I go to the other side. And see about getting that flush there and up top. Okay, that's
okay.
See, I think I'm ready to switch to the wrench now.
And that's the wrench right there.
All right. And okay, that's feeling pretty good there. Okay, that's.
Yep.
And we'll come over
now
here.
Come over on this side.
And it's interesting, little ball head look like.
Yeah.
On that.
Well, the reason they put a ball head on it is so you can do it from an angle.
Oh, okay.
If they don't put the ball on there, it always has to be perpendicular to the, in line with the screw.
That. Okay.
But you see the little, let's see if we can do that. See how it has a little ball on the end. So if you put that in that screw, you can actually have it at a little bit of an offset as opposed to straightly in line.
Oh, that's cool. I
So
didn't know that.
that's why they do that.
Okay, so trying to make sure it looks level on each side. Okay, so that's just kind of finger tight there. I haven't tightened because I'm not sure how much further down we need to tighten it. And I guess one of the things we need to do at this point, well, okay, so now we're on to the next step where we're going to be adding in the feet. There's 3 of these. You have several of these long screws here. Go in these top 2 holes here. we match it up to the corner, which we've already done the other side. And we're going to get these, I don't know if you can see from that side, there's 2 holes right here for these to go in.
Pull the plate back and out, and we'll see.
So
show them. You can
right here.
Yeah, I can see one of them, but
I
can't see the other. But that's okay.
This is where we're going to put this one. We already have the back tube. This is the front we're working on. The back tube Greg did already. Thank you, Lord, for the mechanical husband who can figure some of this stuff out, because I was totally confused on some of these pieces. And there at the end of the last segment, I was like, where are the legs for this thing? So that was kind of hilarious for us, because we're like, I don't know where the legs are. I was not expecting this. Okay, so now then, over here, we have the screw. What'd you say this was for? It has the nylon.
It's a nylon isolated cylinder is what they call it. So this actually just needs to, we need to finish screwing this in right here. And what that does is that prevents this from traveling too far.
Oh, kind of like a limit switch.
Yeah, kind of like a limit switch, but it's just a physical stop.
Alrighty.
All right.
Okay, now I'm going to move over a little bit here, because now we got to get the screws.
Yeah.
For
and then
front
the
here.
short one goes right up here in this top corner here.
Yeah, right in the center of these bills, there's a hole for it to go in.
Yeah, a threaded hole.
A threaded hole. So I need to try to get that matched up here.
Yeah, I can't.
Okay.
That's the best I can do from here.
You did great. I'll get this one most of the way in, and then we'll get the other one. Okay. And then we'll finish tightening them up. Alrighty. So one of the things I noticed as we were working on this, each of these rails look a little bowed. So I don't know if that's by design or what.
Or it's just your eyes.
It could be. You never know. Okay, this one's giving me fits. Let me change my angle here a little bit.
Don't get it cross-threaded, whatever you do.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to change my angle a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't act as though it's wanting to go in, but let's try that. There you go.
Yeah, it got easier as I got in further. Alrighty. Okay, there's finger tight. I'll come back over to this one. There's finger tight. Okay, so I think that's interesting that we're actually using the display as one of the legs.
Yeah. Well, it kind of makes sense. I mean, why put another leg on there if you've got to have a display control panel? So.
And I want you to lift up on that side a little bit and show that the gantry runs pretty smoothly. So there we go. So there was the little switch or the little screw over here that stopped it. So we feel like it's pretty square because that's moving freely.
Yeah, if it wasn't square, that'd be bound up and it wouldn't slide freely like that. So that was step 4. So we're gonna stop the video, and then we'll take step 5 and
get to that.
Yep. Okay. So one of the things we realized we did not do earlier, it was not real clear in the instructions in step 1, 2, or 3. Right in here in these brackets, you see it's got, remember the silver things in the little groove and you had to orient them? Well, it talks about tightening these screws. So it turns out on this micro SD card here that's contained, this is like USB, and then there's a micro SD card right in here that I don't have enough fingernails to get out of there, but there's a micro SD card there, and on there's a quick start video that's several minutes long. And we watched that video, and in there it talks about making sure that these are tight. So
after you put those
these screws here on the side. So we're going to go through and we're going to tighten all these screws up here.
Alrighty.
Tighten there. And remember, you got 2 on each corner. 1 on each rail there. So then we're going to come back over to here.
Yep. So yeah, I do suggest that if you get this particular model, that you watch that video on the USB drive because, but mute the sound because the piano music for us anyway was very agitating. We were able to pay attention to what was actually happening on the video after we muted the sound.
It's beautiful music if you wanted to listen to the music, but if you're trying to watch the video, and this is my opinion, if you're wanting to watch the video and pay attention to the contents of the video, honestly, it caused me anxiety and tension while I was trying to watch the video and pay attention. So that's just my advice, but
everybody's different. It's just the way it hit us was.
Yeah. So I muted the audio so we could pay attention to the video. All right. So now the next thing is you got this little nut here, and this is a screw that goes in this nut. Well, what it says you're supposed to do is you're supposed to put this in this rail here. And by the way, we went ahead and put one of the drive belts in there in place.
It's kind of hard to see because it's dark.
It's kind of hard to see, but it's one of these. And what has to happen is there's a little slot cut here in the end, and you can see it a little bit more clear on this other side. But we ran this thing all the way through, all the way out the end flat. And then we kind of pushed on each end and popped this up
in the middle.
And then we pulled one end back through and looped it around there. And that was easier for us to get it looped around there and underneath these pulleys than
using the screwdriver method they were talking about. Yeah. It's just a matter of your fingers and agility and stuff like that.
All right.
So next step,
we're supposed to take these. Oh, by the way, you're supposed to put it in this groove.
Let me get up closer.
Yeah. You're supposed to put it in this groove, but then you have to, apparently I've got to get I've got to put it in this groove, and then I have to turn it like so. And this is the largest one of the Allen wrenches that they provide you. But, oh, by the way, that's... All right, so we're ready to put the other belt in. Notice there's a little slot cut here in the frame. So this belt here is going to go in, and it's going in T-side down. So I'm going to put that in place, and we're going to keep feeding it through here. Now, we do this a little bit different than what they showed in the video because, quite frankly, it was a little bit, easier for us, or we felt like it was. So put that belt in there. We're going to pull that belt, right? So now what we're going to do is we got a belt there out that end, and we're going to pull this back to here. So we've got to push from that end and this end. And then notice
how it starts bowing up.
Notice how it starts bowing up. And I want you to show this right in here. It started bowing up right here.
So he grabbed it.
So then I pull this back out, and we're underneath that wheel there, if you will. So I'm going to pull that out. This has to route over the top. Again, it has to be T-side down. Then we're going to route this underneath the wheel. And I don't know of a better way to do this, to be honest. So then we're going to pull this out, grab a hold of that belt, and then you're going to grab a hold of that one and make sure I don't pull this all the way through. Okay, you got to give me some slack here because I've got to. Okay, I think we're pretty close there. All right. So there you go.
Just we have some sticking out on both ends now.
You got some sticking out on both ends. Now, what we're going to show you again is we're going to show you that little, this is basically it's just a little nut there.
It's kind of hard to get it in focus.
Yeah, all right, so let me hold it like this. You notice the little grooves.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so those grooves are actually going to go up. So we're going to do this end down here first.
See how he's got it in there right there with the grooves up?
And then you're going to take the largest Allen wrench in there, and you're going to bring this down to right here, and we're going to press down, and we're going to twist it.
There we go.
90 degrees, like that right there.
Yep. And then we still have some sticking out here on the end.
There's some sticking out on that end, and there's some sticking out on this end. And again, it's T side down. Okay.
And then we're going to switch to the little brown screw.
Now, here's the screw, and then we have the second largest Allen wrench is the one that we put in there to tighten this down. Okay,
all right.
there, it's tightened down. So now we're going to come to the other end. And again, notice the screw. You got the groove side up. Place that down right down in here. And you want it to be back away from the corner. In other words, you don't want it out here. You want it further, closer here to the corner. Right? We're going to grab that. We're going to push down. And we're going to turn 90 degrees like that right there, right? Then we're going to take the screw. Again, we'll use the second largest Allen wrench that they got there. We're going to take that and we're going to use that to tighten that down. So this is step 5 that we're finishing up here in the instructions.
Alrighty, and after he gets done tightening that up, I will move the gantry back and forth to see how well it moves. Seems to be pretty smooth.
Yeah, pretty smooth.
Alrighty, so now we'll figure out what the next step is.
So we're in step 6 now, and we're fixing the laser head. So you got a couple of these thumb screws right here.
Okay.
And these thumb screws, basically what they do is they go through these grooves and then they tie into, there's threads inside of right there. So we're going to put that screw in there. Got to hold that gantry in place so that it doesn't move while I'm trying to get this done. And that is not cooperating.
Yeah, it's all in an angle sometimes when you're trying to do things right-handed and left-handed and all that.
All right.
Let me move to the other side, see if we can get a
Okay,
little
that one's at least cooperating there.
Yeah, here, move your hand so I can see it. Yeah, there we go, like that.
Yeah. So before I try to tighten that one down, I'm trying to get this one, and it is not cooperating at all.
Say it's going to take a right-hander.
Well, I'm trying to do it with my left hand.
I know, that's why I'm saying you're going to have to move where you use your right
so
hand.
there,
Oh, got it.
there,
Okay.
I finally got it in there. All right, so now the next thing, I'm just going to put those in there.
Okay, so there's the itty-bitty screw somewhere around here.
There's 2 itty-bitty screws right here.
Okay, and those have those column things on them.
Yeah, they call it an isolation cylinder is what they call it. Like,
Okay, so we have to turn the laser around.
Turn it back around.
So we get to the back side.
Yeah. And so these have to go, let's see here. And I can't see. Oh, there you go. They're supposed to go right in here, which I cannot see.
Wow,
So,
yeah. Okay, I think I got it.
Stop the... Okay, so if you can see those, lift it way up there, and I'm using my headlamp here to help illuminate those, but you got one on this side and you got one over here on this side. So basically what I've got to do is I've got to take these screws and somehow or another hold this in place and get those screws inside of there, which is not going to be an easy task at all.
Alrighty, so we decided to put the laser on its front with using this box for the honeycomb to help steady it, and he is doing what he can to get the screws in there. It's kind of hard to see. Thank you for his headlamp. So we're going to try to see if we can
put that right down inside of there.
Yeah, there we go.
And then we're going to put that down in there, and when I feel it, you don't want to over tighten those. So right there is a good place to stop, in my opinion.
Alrighty.
And this still allows the head to move. You want to be able to move the head up and down. And then these thumb screws that we put in there earlier will help hold it solidly in place
For your focusing.
for your focusing.
Alrighty.
Okay, so now we're on step 7, and we're going to connect the wiring harness to the laser head and then to this main motor here, which moves this back and forth this way. And then we'll ultimately do another connection out here, which will move the gantry this way. So this one only has 3 wires on it. This one has, looks like it's about 6 wires on this. So when I look down in here, the laser itself, it only has 3 wires. So we know that this one's obviously too wide to fit that. So this is the one that needs to go in the laser. And you say, okay, well, which way is it oriented? Well, it's keyed. So there's only one way it can go in there. Notice this side right here is going to go right like this right here. Okay? And you want to make sure that that's fully seated. Okay? And then this one right here is the one. And again, see the little ribs right here?
Kind of hard to see in the video.
It's kind of hard to see in the video. But there's one right here, and there's another one right there.
All right, that helped.
All right, and then, so this is going to plug in right like that right there. Okay?
So they kind of keyed it where...
Yeah, they keyed it. It only goes in one way, but I'm just showing, so if somebody gets nervous and they go, okay, well, how do I get this done, right? So this one, again, same way, this has like 6 connections on it. And you don't get it confused with this one because this one's on the halfway up the wiring bundle here. It's going to go on this one. And you say, okay, well, again, which way does it plug in? So these wires here are back here toward the back side here. And then the key part of it, there's a little key here and a key here that goes this direction. So we're going to plug that in right like that.
Alrighty, that's the end of step 7, I believe.
Yes. All right, so now we're ready to adjust the height of the laser. The way this works is you see these thumb screws right here on the side, is you loosen the thumb screw on both sides. Don't loosen it too much, but make sure it's loose so that it moves up and down freely. Then this is your spacer to make sure that your laser is a proper height above your material. So let's say this is your material you're going to engrave or whatnot, is you put that spacer right underneath there and you let this come down to rest where the top of that spacer sits right there on top of that, on the top of that bracket right in there. And that is your proper working height. Then you're going to come back here and you're going to tighten those thumb screws down, and that's the proper working height for the laser.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, so we finished step 8, and the very last thing it says on step 8 is please reference more details on digital manual in TF card about the operation of the laser engraver and installation of laser GRBL or light burn. So at this point, we're going to take a look at that digital manual there and look at the instructions for that before we go on to the next step.
Oh.
So a couple things I wanted to mention is cable management. We wondered about that. It doesn't say anything in the quick start guide, the written quick start guide about it. But on the videos, if you watch the video that's on the SD card they include, it does. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this around here. Also in the video, it shows a hole like this one right here that matches that hole right there in this front faceplate. Well, there's not one on the front faceplate. So what we're going to do is we're going to put one there, and then we're going to grab another one, just part of strain relief on these wires. We're going to do another one a little further up here. So we'll have two kind of right here together. like that right there. All right, tighten those down. I'm going to use a pair of scissors and I'm going to cut those off. All right, then the other thing it shows is it shows pushing this all the way over here and back over here in this back corner. And then it shows running this thing around the back of here. And then it shows using another cable tie right in here to tie this down. And there is not another hole over here. So here we're just going to have to do one cable tie, I guess.
I think there's one above it that I can.
There's one here. There's
You're
one
right
there,
only one.
and that's it.
I thought I saw a second one.
No,
Apparently, it was just reflection.
They showed doing this. So what we're going to do is we're going to, flip that over. Is we're going to show that, we're going to put that in.
And give yourself a little slack.
Give myself a little bit of slack. Again, you want to push this all the way back and all the way over. Give yourself a little bit of slack, and then you're gonna pull that in there like so right there.
Yeah, because there's definitely not any other.
There's not any other holes there to tie it off on.
And then we trim that back.
I'm gonna trim that back.
Okay. Also in the video that they didn't mention in the print was on these little thills right here. Sorry, I'll get it a little bit more centered. These right here on each end, there's a way to loosen them. So if you, as you move the gantry back and forward, if you see it's not in line with this right here, you can actually move them in and out to make them in line with this. But they have some little holes, or screw right there, the screws right here that you can loosen and tighten to move this in and out. So those match.
Yeah, they also talk about this nut right down here, about loosening and tightening this. I guess if this is too tight or it's too loose, but to be honest, the tension on that seems to be about right, my opinion.
You do that on both sides if needed to make sure that your wheels got the proper grip on both sides. Okay, so that's cable management, and next we're supposed to get the SD card, put it in the front, and do a test print.
We are. Okay. So we've got everything set up, and we're going to do that first initial cut or engrave, if you will. Couple things. In the box that has the honeycomb in it, it also has this metal plate. You say, well, why do I have those two pieces? So this metal plate would really be designed for if you're going to do scoring and engraving. You would want to put this underneath the material that you're going to use. Now keep in mind, you would want to use your laser safety glasses here. And again, they gave you a pair. We have several other pairs from other lasers we have, but they gave us this pair. And then there's also the honeycomb here. You would use a honeycomb typically if you're going to cut anything. You want to make sure that your material is on the honeycomb, and that you would use that underneath here to cut your material.
And I personally also include the metal plate under the honeycomb because I'm not sure what kind of metal's on the bottom of the honeycomb.
Yep. Well, in this case, there is no metal on the honeycomb. So you would actually, you would leave this in place regardless of whether you're scoring or engraving.
Or cutting.
And to be candid, you could leave the honeycomb in place if you want to do score and engrave.
Yeah.
So you could just leave it there.
Yeah.
But depending upon which material you have here, you're still going to have to adjust the height of your laser using this reference block. So again, in order to do that, you've got 2 thumb screws here, and you're going to loosen those thumb screws, right? Then you're going to lift on that laser. You're going to put that right underneath here. Notice the materials here, the metal pieces here, then your reference. And you're going to tighten the thumb screws back down. Okay? Now we're going to pull that reference piece out. Okay? Now at this point, we've got it connected into power. we've got the SD card here, and it talks about using the SD card to do a test print. So what we're going to do is this SD card goes in this slot right here on top. And you might say, well, which direction does it go? Does it go this way? Does it go with the gold pins facing me? It actually goes in with, see the gold pins?
No, I can't really see them on the camera.
Okay, see the gold pins?
Okay, just a second here. Trying to focus on that. It's really having a hard time focusing. Put your hand behind it here.
Okay.
All right, so there's the gold pins. Okay.
We're going to take that, and they're going to face backward this direction.
The rear of the
laser. Now, when we push this in, you should hear a click. Very light click.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it.
So, we've got it connected to power. We're going to get our laser glasses out for safety, including...
And we do have a puppy down here, so I'm going to have to be
have a
careful.
puppy, so we're going to have to make sure of that. But there's a pair of laser safety glasses, and I've got a pair of laser safety glasses. So what we're going to do is we're going to push this round silver button to power it on. Okay, comes up on the display, and it says we have a working coordinates, and we have engrave control or tool. Let's go over here to engrave. Okay. And
you want me to come over there so we can see what's on the screen?
Sure.
All right, give me a second, guys. I'm gonna try not to. I'm gonna get behind Greg so we can try to see the screen.
Okay, here. So here's the screen here.
Alrighty, I'm zoomed in on it.
And now we're going to do engrave right here. And then we've got a bird. We've got some kind of a, let's see, basswood, engrave. This is a compass, and then this is a logo. So what they did here on the, is I believe that they did a
logo to engrave.
The logo, right? And then let's try frame here.
Okay, so we need to move the wood where it's at, where it's framing.
Well, right now it's trying to determine let's go back and let's do frame again.
And then our puppy decided to try to get in on the action here.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move this up so that it more toward the top. So if we decide to do another one,
Alrighty, what do you think?
I think we're okay there.
Okay, so I'm gonna move back over to the other side and grab my laser glasses.
Yep.
And try to keep the puppy from messing with anything.
And I think at this point I can hit confirm.
Okay, I got my laser glasses on. And there it goes.
So as soon as you hit confirm, it's going to start engraving. Smokey?
You're a good boy. Don't look at the screen, please. Sorry, guys. Trying to control a husky and film at the same time. Now we are inside. We don't have any smoke management going on here. If you're going to be doing much in the way of cutting, you either need to move it outside or get some kind of smoke management.
Yep. But the good news is the laser is firing, it is operating, and it's engraving on the test piece of wood that they provided.
Yeah. And at this point, I'm still trying to keep the dog under control. So
Yep,
I
got it.
apologize for any jerking of the camera, because I am hand holding it. From what I can tell so far, it looks like it's doing good. Got his head under the table, so that helps. There
Yeah.
he goes, lay down.
And over here on the screen, it has elapsed time. It's over a minute right now.
Looking good. From what I can see from over here,
Yep.
it's a good dark and gray. At least with my glasses on.
Yeah. Notice it's relatively quiet as well.
Yeah, it is. I like that.
It's not real fast,
Most diodes aren't.
so
And reminder, this is a 10 watt.
yeah.
So may have to open the window to
Yeah.
help air the place out when we get done with this. But it's looking good. And I do love the fact that it is quiet. It's probably because it doesn't have all the air assist and all that other stuff that the other lasers that we have on them. Part of the noise that we have from those is actually the fans running for the smoke control. Alrighty, it seems to be done. Now let's take a look at it.
Car finish. It took over 2 minutes. I couldn't tell the total number of seconds because it didn't say. But let me go ahead and pick that up and I'll show you the engrave.
Wow, that looks pretty good. All right.
Yep.
So first test, a success.
Yep. Okay, Greg Medora with the Oily Crafter, and Judy's operating the camera there. So we did have a successful test there, engrave on there. Again, we didn't have an air assist. We didn't have any air handling. So you want to make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. But it did do a good job. It took over a couple of minutes to do that. That was in normal mode. Apparently this also has a high-speed mode. What I will tell you is, when you're putting that SD card in and out of the machine, be very careful, because this can become damaged. So my advice to you is, when it's in this unit, is you can make a copy of that SD card, copy it to your computer somewhere so you have it. I would definitely encourage you to have spares of this so that in case something happens to that SD card, you're not going, okay, well, what do I do now? Now, the good news is you can drive it with your computer. We'll do another video about what you need to do to connect it to your computer. Taking that out, you literally are going to just depress the top of that and the SD card will come right out. Just to be clear, to do the test print that we just did, the SD card must be in there. That's where we got the G-code file from in order to print on the laser. So with all that, we want to thank you for watching the Oily Crafter today. If you like the video, please like and subscribe to our channel, like the video, and we appreciate your support. So again, we want to thank you and hope you have a wonderful and blessed day today. This is Greg and Judy Medora with the Oily Crafter. Thank you for watching.